Hello and thank you for watching this video of what you can expect to experience while on a cruise of the French Polynesian Islands. I will also include some suggestions for all the ports of call that you will stop at along the way. This particular 8-day and 7-night cruise, which began in Papeete, Tahiti, was on Windstar's Star Breeze. Now be sure to click on the information card in the upper right hand corner if you would like to see the full ship tour video that I also posted for this ship. Considering that just about everyone's Polynesian cruise vacation will begin with a flight into Papeete, Tahiti, I highly recommend giving yourself at least an extra day there. Most cruise lines have pre-arranged packages with hotel and transportation, but if that option isn't available, then I highly suggest staying at the Hilton Hotel, which is conveniently located close to the Papeete airport. An added plus for this hotel is the pedestrian walkway to a Carrefour grocery store, which is like a French version of a super Target. Now this could come in handy if you forgot to pack sunscreen or some other sundry item. The Hilton is also centrally located to restaurants or this theme night dinner show at the nearby Intercontinental Hotel. Plus, with an extra day or two there, you will also be relaxed and ready for the short taxi ride to the cruise terminal located in downtown Papeete. Once checked in and boarded, you'll have time to get the first glimpse of your cabin, grab a bite to eat, and explore the ship before the sail away. Going to one of the ship's upper decks is a great place to catch the sail away and a sunset before heading to dinner and an evening at one of the ship's lounges as you sail to your first destination, which for this cruise was Moorea. Which you will be there from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. As with any cruise line, you will be offered many excursion options, but for Moorea and every other port, to be honest, we decided to take in the sights on our own. This not only allowed for more leisurely mornings, but it also gave us the freedom to visit the places that we wanted to see. Moorea, like most of the small ports on this Polynesian cruise, required a tender boat to go ashore. Now, our plan for Moorea was to find a beach with picturesque views, which our taxi driver actually recommended one that was just a short ride from the port. After an amazing day at this beautiful beach, I reached out to our taxi driver by text. She then brought us back to the port, where we hopped on to the next tender to our ship. Once we were back on board, we grabbed a quick bite to eat at the ship's Star Grill. And before you knew it, it was time to set sail once again for our next destination of Raiatea. Where we will be in port from 8 a.m. until 6 a.m. the next morning. Now, Raiatea is the only place besides Papeete that you'll actually dock at, as opposed to tendering. Once again, we skipped the excursions and we did our own thing here by using a different kind of taxi, a water taxi, which sped us to a small Motu. Not only was this a fun ride over, but this peaceful little Motu had lots of sea life that was literally beneath our feet. On the way back, one of the water taxi crew treated us to Polynesian music on his ukulele as we made our way back to the same dock as our ship. And because our ship wasn't leaving until 6 a.m. the following morning, a Polynesian family with several generations had time to come on board and perform their traditional dance for us. Not long after that, it was time for dinner, before stopping at one of the ship's lounges for the evening. And by the time you wake up the next morning, you will have already arrived at your next destination, Motu, Mahana. Which is a short distance from the main island of Tahiti. The stay here is scheduled from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. Of course, there were excursions offered here as well by the cruise line, but for this stop, the real highlight was the Motu itself, where everyone was provided with boat transportation to the Motu for live entertainment and a lunch buffet that was literally served mere feet from its sandy beaches. After a relaxing day on the Motu, it was time to head back to the ship for what is basically a rinse and repeat evening of dinner and lounge entertainment before traveling to our first of 2 days on Bora Bora. Which for this Windstar itinerary had us staying there from 9 a.m. on day 1 until 9 p.m. on day 2. Windstar offered 17 excursions for day 1, but as you might have already guessed, we would again choose to go out on our own. But this time, we were on a mission to duplicate something that we had done on a previous visit to Bora Bora nearly 20 years earlier. And that was to find a place to rent our own boat, because the memories of finding that perfect spot to drop anchor and swim in the warm ocean waters was too good to pass up. In order to make that happen, once we stepped off the tender boat in the port of Raiatea, we would need to rent a car and drive to another part of the island where a search of the internet pointed us to this boat rental company. And as luck would have it, this was the exact same place that we had rented a boat almost 20 years earlier. This little 2-person boat wasn't going to win any regattas, but it would bring us to a spot where the water temperature was 88 degrees Fahrenheit or 31 degrees Celsius. It was truly hard to leave this spot, but we also wanted to motor past the same overwater bungalows of the Intercontinental Hotel here in Bora Bora that we had stayed at when we rented a boat the very first time we were here. All this went way too fast, of course, so before long it was time to return the boat and the car. However, we also knew that we had another full day to explore Bora Bora, so we took the tender back to the ship for an evening, knowing that we would have a second day back on Bora Bora. Now, although we wouldn't set sail again until 9 p.m., we would have to return to the ship a little earlier for something that I'll show you in just a moment. In the meantime, we would again rent a car and enjoy a scenic drive around the island in order to spend some time at a beautiful beach that we had discovered the day before. After some beach time, there was also a gelato place not far from the port that got rave reviews during one of the port talks, and I have to say, it didn't disappoint. Then it was time to hop on the tender back to the ship for something that I hinted about earlier. And that's what Windstar calls their exclusive destination discovery event, which takes place on a private Motu. This included a massive buffet with lobster, seafood, sushi, and just about anything else you can think of for dinner. And after dessert, we were treated to a Polynesian show complete with fire dancers. Once the show ended, it was time to head back to the ship for a 9 p.m. departure and to our last destination of the cruise, Huahine. Which would be from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. As with all the ports before this destination also had its fair share of Windstar excursions. But as you already know by now, we chose to go out on our own by hiring a taxi to take us on a little tour of the island before dropping us off at a place called the Huahine Yacht Club. So, when at agreed upon pickup time back to the ship, we strolled around the little downtown for a while before sitting down at the Huahine Yacht Club for a refreshing beverage. From there you can see a series of mountain peaks across the bay that the locals like to say forms a silhouette of a pregnant woman lying on her back. With the realization that our Polynesian cruise was coming to an end, the taxi ride back to port and the tender back to the ship was indeed bittersweet.
Shortly we'll be making our way out a distance of 96 nautical miles to our next destination, Papeete, overnight at an average speed of 7.2 knots. We're expecting to be at the pilot station tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock to be alongside for around 7.
Welcome to our farewell event. All good things must come to an end, unfortunately. But have you had a good time, everybody? It's been fantastic, isn't it? All these different places that we've visited, the entertainment, the food, the drink, and of course the crew. We've had a wonderful, wonderful time. But I always say, don't be sad and disappointed it's over. Just be glad and happy that it happened. And we really do hope you've taken home those memories.
For our final evening, we enjoyed this last sail away and the sunset, as well as our usual dinner and onboard entertainment. But we decided to cap off this moonlit night with a visit to the ship's bridge as we sailed back to Papeete, Tahiti for a 9 a.m. arrival. Because the ship will begin accepting new guests for the next cruise, Windstar requested that we enjoy our breakfast on board and depart the ship by 10 a.m., which would give the crew time to prepare for the new guests that would be coming aboard soon. And just like that, this 8-day and 7-night cruise was over. And for us, it was also time to travel back home. However, most flights, especially the ones back to the States, are all red-eye flights, meaning you'll still have some time to spend in Papeete. And for that, I suggest booking a day room. The one we found was literally across the street from the cruise terminal. This allowed us to leisurely enjoy our last day in Tahiti without having to worry about where our luggage was going to be and explore the downtown while grabbing a bite to eat before heading to the airport for the flight back home. I hope that you found our experiences from this cruise vacation helpful. So if that's the case, please hit the like button, which really does help to get this video out to others that might also be considering a Polynesian cruise. Also, if you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing so, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you are alerted to any new video that I post in the future. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.